I was thinking today about our life, and it's just a narrative. Our life is just a story that we have to keep writing and writing and writing. And a lot of people ask, what's the point? What's the meaning of our life? There's no single answer. You have to find meaning in your life yourself because this is your life, this is your story. And you have to keep writing your story toward something meaningful. Because it's easy to create catastrophe out of your life. It's easy to break your life and to destroy your life completely with bad decisions. Because every decision you make in your life creates such a wave that affect you in the future. And you have to be very, very cautious what kind of steps you make and what kind of story you write. And of course, you have to have a lot of things like taste, for example, or such a moral foundation. You have to develop moral foundation for yourself, because if you don't have moral foundation, your story would be incredibly shallow and weak. There's going to be not a good plot. Also, there are going to be no good characters. It's really the same like writing a book. You write your life the same way like a writer writing a book. Because you try to edit the way you go, and you try to leave up your own ideas, and you create your own ideal that helps you to overcome such bad things in your life. You know, I always think about usually you just live the way people around you do, but sometimes you can make certain steps that put you aside from other people, and you try to find new way of existence, and you try to find new way of understanding the world around you. It's funny because if you take a look at artificial intelligence, it actually can help you with your story. How sometimes you don't understand certain patterns in your story, and you try to find links and how to link those patterns in a coherent idea. And that's where AI can help you. It can help you by reasoning. If you're honest with AI and you give AI your story and the way you live, it might give you certain answers, certain reasoning. For example, if you want to rewire your brain and if you want to develop new habits, AI is really good in reasoning how you can make it, because AI knows human psychology and it knows human philosophy. It knows a lot of things. It's like a knowledge you can literally talk to. That's why I never understood why some people think AI is dumb. It's not dumb. You just have to be very careful when you ask your questions. It's just a complete knowledge that can talk back to you when you ask questions. You have to be very careful in exploring those questions. And the incredibly amazing thing about artificial intelligence that it can reason. It can reason with the problems. It can reason with quest. When you ask certain questions, it can reason, it can give you answer, and you can keep exploring together these answers. And when you write your own personal story, of course you have to learn how to change yourself. Why? Because you have to learn how to make a proper sacrifice. I thought a lot about this idea, the story of Cain and Abel. Like why Cain's sacrifices wasn't accepted by God. Why Abel was, on the other hand. And in the story, he did everything right, but the problem is his heart wasn't in this sacrifice. That's why the sacrifice was rejected, while Abel gave his absolute best with all his heart, with everything. And that's why his sacrifice was accepted. And how it's interesting, because after Cain's sacrifice was rejected, he decided to destroy Abel and prove again that his sacrifice was fake. And that's what we do during our lifetime. We always try to make sacrifices that not complete. And without making complete sacrifices, you cannot achieve anything. Like if you work out, for example, right? If you work out once a week, you're not going to be in shape. You have to, if you decided to do something, it's the same. That's what sacrifice means. You have to do something. When you do something, like you have to give yourself away completely. The same with the sacrifice. You have to completely sacrifice something. And once you do this, your life starts changing. That's what's interesting. I don't know how some secular thinkers, like atheist thinkers, don't see this. Why they try to see sacrifices in the Bible as something literal, not metaphorical. I never understood this. It seems like they intentionally try to diminish wisdom that the Bible filled with. For example, me personally, I always say a prayer, like I ask God to give me wisdom, but mostly what I ask Him is to give me strength to act upon this wisdom. Because we all know what we should do. We all know intuitively what our next step must be, but we don't have enough strength sometimes, or we cannot push ourselves to do something. And that's the point. It's not only we need wisdom, we need strength to act upon this wisdom. The same like we know what our story must be, but we don't have enough consistent behavior to be able to keep writing our own story. Sometimes we just interrupt our story in the middle of the chapter and jump on something else, try to forget about our story for a while. The problem is you will never come back to finish this chapter. It just will stay unfinished for the rest of your life, and it's incredibly bad. Because you have to be very careful with your life. You have to finish every chapter properly. Otherwise, the continuity will disappear. And it's incredibly important to understand because your personal story, right? It's your personal responsibility. And when you live in a country like America, you have to be grateful because not many countries on the planet allows people to write their own personal stories. Some countries filled with tyranny, and what tyranny does, it writes one story for everybody inside the country. And if you try to deviate with your own personal story, you will be prosecuted as heretic and put in camps or in gulags or prison camps or whatever. My point is, if you live in a free country like the United States of America, you have to take advantage and keep developing your personal story. It doesn't matter if, like, a lot of people think that if I'm not become billionaire, my life is like, I hate this life then. You can live incredibly modest. You can live incredibly simple life, but you can be completely in the present, completely in control of your life, and you keep developing your own story, your own plot, your own idea of life, and you can be incredibly fulfilled and know the meaning of your life, and so it would be enough for you to live this way. You don't need to be billionaire or millionaire for this. You can live just simple, good life. That's the whole point. It's not the point to impress other people because other people don't care. The point is to find meaning within and then try to understand this meaning, try to understand the world, try to improvise with the world and improvise with yourself. Even now we have artificial intelligence. You can have fascinating conversation with that. You can train yourself. You can create structure from your knowledge, and you, in some sense, can understand yourself much better with AI, because what AI can do, you can give AI your thoughts, and AI can find some structure in your thinking and help you with the structure, help you to understand things that you would never understood before otherwise. The world filled with information, and I think that's what the world is. It's information, and we are the ones who try to decode this information, to find some sense in this information, to find something meaningful in this information, because our life is so short and we will all die in the end, and we still have no idea what death is. But it's the end of your story. It's the end of this piece that you have now, this short years of your life. It's funny because I like this expression, traditions are experience that work. Then why we disregard such an ideas from the Bible, from the book that was for thousands of years inspire people? Why would we disregard? Why would we intentionally misunderstand the idea of sacrifices? Because now we become so comfortable and we're absolutely obsessed now with the satisfaction of our biological frame, and we forgot about our soul, and we in some sense become more empty, and sometimes we don't know what to do, and we try to use medication to numb ourselves. But this pain within us, this stress, this depression gives us certain clues that we have to listen and try to decode, because that's the signal that tells us that something is wrong, something is missing, something must be changed and corrected, the self-correcting mechanism. And we keep denying it. And I think the main point of our life to write a proper story out of your life. And when you do this, when you do chapter by chapter, you kind of in control of your existence. When you keep writing your story, you're in control of your existence, because you learn to perceive your life as an author, not as just an accident. Because what would you be, an author of your own story, were you in control, or just an accident that was born and about to die? The choice is yours.